Hey guys, what's going on? Kalamazi here, and today we're going to be taking a look at Affliction after its recent damage buff. We did test a bit with Affliction before in a drastically undertuned state, and while the spec felt fine, its damage was just too low to bring into Mythic Plus. I can thankfully report, however, that it's no longer the case. Here are the talents that I ran for this quick Fortified Atal'Dazar run. They do differ a good bit from the talents that I ran last time, and I feel this is a much better combination for Mythic Plus. Absolute Corruption is great for larger, longer trash pulls and makes it much easier to maintain your other dots with a lot of low levels of haste and the reduced duration of corruption no longer being a concern. I also chose Phantom Singularity over Vile Taint as it provides a good bit of AoE on trash packs as well as solid single target DPS for bosses. Also, don't forget there's just under a week left for my 30 days of WoW Game Time giveaway. If you're interested in that, I'll have a link to it in the description below with more information. Now, I do have the damage breakdown for each boss encounter here as well as an active damage meter, but I did want to mention there's a bit of a disparity between the two when it comes to actual damage done. It's not a lot, however, and with it being beta, it's something that's sort of expected, honestly. Now, like in previous videos, I'll have timestamps in the description for each boss if you want to see more of the trash, but seeing as how it's Mythic Plus, I did leave the trash in as I feel it's a very important part of Mythic Plus. The High Priest of Lunza fight is mostly a single target encounter with a few small adds to spawn and need to be killed quickly before they absorb the small blood pools in the ground that are used by players to counteract her transfusion ability.
Atal'Dazar's power flows through me! Corruption be purified! My claws will bind your heart. Corruption.
The damage of Priestess has us in first, just narrowly beating out the warrior, followed by the rogue. The warrior was able to pad a bit more in the adds that spawned than us, but when we both hit execute, we both began to pull away a bit from the rogue. The breakdown states that Unstable Affliction was our main source of damage, followed by Grimoire of Sacrifice, which has been an amazing talent choice in most of my testing. It was then followed by Drained Soul, Phantom Singularity, Corruption, and then Agony. Now if the adds lived a bit longer, Absolute Corruption would have really had a larger impact on Corruption's overall damage here, but they simply just died way too fast. Rezan was the next boss we pulled quickly after Priestess, and we actually did not even have all our cooldowns back up yet. We were targeted by his Pursuit ability once, and as you will see, his Roar ability that fears players who are not LOS in the boss was also bugged even when we were LOS. Unstable Affliction was first, followed again by Grimoire of Sacrifice, Corruption, and then Agony. If we were not feared a few times during the fight, and were also not focused by his Pursuit ability, I feel the Drain Souls damage would be much closer to Corruption here overall. Having Absolute Corruption also made it a bit easier to maintain our dots with his fears and his Pursuit abilities taking place. Vol'Kall was the third boss encounter. This is a great fight for Affliction, especially if you're running Absolute Corruption. All three totems must die within a few seconds of each other to enter phase 2 of the fight, where Vol'Kall actually becomes killable. If they do not, they heal back to full, as you will see them do here once. Being able to maintain permanent corruption on all 4 targets as well as agony really lets you get a good bit of control on each totem and helps you bring them all down at once. The damage at the end of the fight has us in first by a considerable amount, followed by the warrior and then the rogue. One thing worth mentioning is that even in phase 1, it's important to maintain your agony on Vol'Kall when he becomes active in phase 2. Heading into that part of the fight with a 10 stack of agony is very important versus having a freshly applied 1 stack of agony. It also helps a good bit with shard generation for phase 1 totems and later on heading into phase 2. Now the breakdown here is showing the damage only dealt to Vol'Kall and not the 3 totems in the first phase. If it were showing that data, I believe it would show Unstable Affliction as number 1, followed then by Corruption and Grimoire of Sacrifice. Instead, we see Unstable Affliction as our main source, followed by Grimoire of Sacrifice, Corruption, and then Agony, which is a pretty normal breakdown for a single target damage report. Now the final boss is Yazma, and with this only being a 2 key with Fortified, not Tyrannical, the ads she spawns really did die quickly here, even too fast for a seed cast, but normally they require much more crowd control and damage dealt to them. Seeing as how I was the only ranged here as well, it made movement on the encounter a whole lot easier for me.
Let your soul be shattered! Sur
The damage report here has the warrior in first, followed by us in second, and the rogue in third. The warrior was great in this fight and was able to absolutely crush the ads that spawned and needed to die quickly. The damage breakdown here has Unstable Affliction and Grimoire of Sacrifice in their usual spots of 1 and 2, but they are then followed by Drain Soul. This is partially due to the fact that when we pulled the boss, our Dark Lair was still on cooldown and we were not able to activate it until about 30% or so. If you look back, you'll see our damage begin to spike a good bit at that point due to both the cooldown use and Drain Soul's execute damage really kicking in towards the end of the fight. Now the overall damage for this dungeon has the warrior in first, followed by us in second and the rogue in third. Warriors at the moment have insane burst damage when it comes to large AoE trash pulls, but I felt we held our own pretty well here, especially seeing as we have to cast Seed of Corruption if you start our own rotation and then apply Agony, and the warrior can simply just jump into the middle and just start spinning around. As expected, Corruption was our main source of damage here over the entire run, and by a good bit. Having its first application be permanent and also having a 15% damage increase from Absolute Corruption talent really makes it a great talent pick for Mythic Plus. It's worth noting that Grimoire of Sacrifice did deal a good bit of damage here overall in the run as well, and it's another great talent choice now that we once again retain the Sacrifice Pet's Command Demon ability. Overall, I was very impressed with Affliction in this run and have been since its actual buff. I think the spec flows very well and it really does have a great toolkit for Mythic Plus and beyond. Drain Soul is 100% the correct choice in the first row for dungeons, as sniping shards and having a channeled ability is much better than casting Shadow Bolts at dying mobs. I still feel that Absolute Corruption is the go-to choice in the level 30 row, as with the reduced duration of it without Absolute Corruption, and also as having lower haste levels, maintaining both Agony and Corruption at times often becomes too much. Its increased damage is also a great plus for Mythic Plus. Both Phantom Singularity and Grimoire of Sacrifice are very impressive, and I still believe that both are also the best talents in said rows. Having Phantom Singularity both an AoE spell as well as a solid single target dot for boss encounters makes it a great choice, and as mentioned, now that we once again retain the Sacrifice Pet's Command Demon ability, Grimoire of Sacrifice is a great choice. I do want to test a bit more, however, with the level 100 talents, and I feel that on larger pulls, once you get a few Agonies rolling, that Dark Soul Misery could be a better choice, but that's warrants some more testing. I still was very impressed with Soul Conduit and led to some insane openers with Dark Lair as well. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I really hope this gave you all a great look into Affliction post-buff and answered most of your questions. If you have any more questions, let me know in the comments below, and also let me know what you thought of Affliction in this run. I think it's in a pretty great place now in beta, and it's now an even better choice or better option for Mythic Plus, rating, and leveling alike. Hopefully we see a few demonology changes and buffs in the next build or so, and then we really have a choice to make. If you guys want to see more WoW and BFA content, remember to smash those like, share, and subscribe buttons, as your support really helps. Thanks so much, guys, and I'll see y'all really soon in Battle for Azeroth. Peace.